He was previously one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, but now Harvey Weinstein faces serious charges. The former Hollywood executive was charged Friday morning with rape and other sex crimes. He turned himself into police and smiled as he was led to court in handcuffs. CBS News correspondent Jericka Duncan has been following the story.
The lights and cameras are nothing new, but this scene was one Harvey Weinstein never wanted to play out. He ignored shouted questions as he walked with a limp into a New York City police precinct just blocks away from his once revered production company. The 66-year-old was placed in a jail cell for a half hour while his paperwork was processed.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go.
When Weinstein reappeared, the man who was once the most powerful producer in Hollywood was in handcuffs, escorted to court to hear the charges, 2 counts of rape and 1 count of a criminal sexual act.
The defendant is to post $1 million cash or...
One of the charges stems in part from an alleged incident involving Lucia Evans. She told The New Yorker that when she was an aspiring actress, Weinstein forced her to perform oral sex on him in 2004 at his office. Court records state the second charge is connected to an anonymous woman who alleges Weinstein raped her in a New York City hotel in March of 2013. Weinstein's downfall began 7 months ago. Since that time, at least 80 women have accused him of sexual misconduct.
Here I was, a young local news anchor who was...
Lauren Sivan first spoke to CBS News last fall, saying Weinstein masturbated in front of her in 2007. We spoke to her today.
I take solace in the fact that he will never be remembered for any of his Oscar-winning movies. He will be remembered as a predator.
Weinstein's attorney, Ben Brofman.
My job is not to defend behavior. My job is to defend something that is criminal behavior. People get convicted only when there is credible evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, and in this case, I do not believe that the district attorney has that.
Jericka Duncan joins me now. Jericka, Weinstein posted bail on Friday. So what happens from here?
Well, you know, even though he's free on bail, he has to have a GPS monitoring device so that the courts can keep track of his every move. He had to surrender his passport, and he also has to tell the court if he would like to travel outside of New York or Connecticut, but he's not supposed to travel outside of those areas unless the court approves it. He does have another court appearance July 30th, so this is only the beginning of what could be a very long legal process.
And Jericka, you mentioned how some women are responding to his arrest. What are you hearing from some of his accusers?
So his accusers are speaking publicly. They're going online. You know, Rose McGowan has been very open about what she says she experienced in 1997, saying that she was raped by Harvey Weinstein. She thanked Lucia Evans. This is the woman who helped bring this case against Harvey Weinstein. She's the one who spoke to The New Yorker and said that Harvey Weinstein forced her to perform oral sex in 2004. So you hear, you know, Rose McGowan thanking her over Twitter, as well as Paz de la Huerta, who we did speak with back in November. She's another person who accused Harvey Weinstein of rape. Then you hear from Asia Argento. She's an actress as well who, as you recall, spoke at the Cannes Film Festival and spoke to a crowd of people and say, Harvey Weinstein raped me right here. And this was his, you know, playground, so to speak. She went on Twitter today and said, Harvey Weinstein ain't smiling anymore. And that was captioned of a picture that she showed of him today as he was coming out of the precinct. So you have women all across the world, all across the country, and men responding to this arrest. But without a doubt, his accusers are chiming in and feeling relief, as we were able to speak to someone who said she experienced being in a situation where she was forced to watch him masturbate, according to her. For her, she said, this brings me peace and solace knowing that he will not go down as the greatest producer in this Hollywood mogul, but he will go down in history in her mind as somebody that was a predator. And, you know, a lot of people who've been following this story, who have spoken out against Harvey Weinstein, definitely see today's arrest and charges as a victory.
Some of the women that you mentioned had gone to police earlier, and police previously had declined to prosecute. Do we know anything about the type of evidence they have now?
Well, it's interesting because you have a case from 2004, Lucia Evans. She's now been on record that she's the person with one of the charges. And then you have an anonymous woman from March of 2018, or excuse me, of 2013. So that is pretty new. We have to surmise that the prosecutors feel like they have enough evidence. We don't know if it is physical evidence. We don't know if it's, corroborating their stories. We don't know if maybe some of these women perhaps went to a doctor or some sort of record to indicate that these events happened on this day and at this time. But it is definitely, their burden of proof. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that these things happened in order for there to be a conviction. The attorney for Weinstein saying he doesn't even believe this is going to go to trial. He thinks that these cases are weak. He maintains rather that his client never had non-consensual sex with any of the women who've accused him of sexual harassment, misconduct, rape. So we have to see how it plays out.
So we know that police in London and Los Angeles are also investigating Weinstein. Can we surmise that this case will impact those investigations?
I think without a doubt investigators have to be watching what's happening in the United States. I'm sure they're interviewing some of the same women. They're probably talking to the investigators here to figure out how they were able to put this case together enough so that Harvey Weinstein is now facing these sex abuse charges.
Absolutely. We'll see what
rape charges.
Right. We'll see what happens in those other cities as well. Jericka Duncan, thank you so much.
Thank you.